5.2 part B. Again, we're going to solve the system equation. My first step I want to do is I want to get a 0 here and a 0 here. So let's start by getting a 0 here. I'm going to take a multiple of this equation, which would be negative 4, and add it to this equation. So negative 4 times equation 1 add to equation 2. So negative 4 times all these terms are written right here. And then I rewrote equation 2. If I add those together, I get negative 11y plus 5z equals negative 8. So that's my new second equation there. Okay, the next step I want to do is I want to get a 0 for the 5x's. So I want to get a 0 right here. So I take a multiple of this equation, negative 5 times equation 1, and add it to equation 3. So I took negative 5 times equation 1, gives me this answer right here. I rewrote equation 3, I add my like terms together, and this becomes my new equation 3, which I rewrote as equation 6. Okay, so this is my new system of equations right here. Now let's go on. I'm going to move down here first. Okay, there we go. Okay, so using this new system of equations, the next step I want to do is, again, I want this to look like a triangle, so I want to get a 0 right here. The way I do that is I take this equation, which is equation 5, times negative 1 times equation 5, plus equation 6. When I do that, I get 0 is equal to 0, which means the system is dependent. So when the system is dependent, I'm going to write as an order triple depending on z. So let's move down. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So here's z. What I want to do is find a value for x in terms of z and y in terms of z. Let's start with y in terms of z. I took this equation right here and I solved for y. So if you look, you first subtract 5z, divide by negative 11, and this is what I got for y, and I replace that with what's right there. The next thing I would do is I want to solve for x. So I took my very first equation right here, and I'm going to solve in terms of x. So x in terms of z, I should say. So let's do that. Let's move down first so we can see that better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's my original equation. The first thing I do is I replace y with 5z plus 8 over 11. So that's my first step. Now I'm going to clear up my denominator. Since it's 11 here, I multiply both sides by 11. And I also apply the distributive property here. And this becomes my new equation. Now I add my like terms. 10z minus 11z becomes negative z. Subtract 16, add z, and I get this. Divide by 11, and this becomes my value of x, which I put right there. Okay, so that concludes this example.